Alrighty, welcome back. We're on episode number 4 of Divinity Original Sin. So last episode we had our first combat experience and learned a lot of the mechanics of how things work, and now we are going to progress into our first dungeon, going through the ancient stone gate. Let's head on in. You can recap all tutorial messages by viewing the tutorial log. Okay. So, we have a chest there. And you can see a rat running around, so if we come up to this rat. Pet Pal. You don't understand a word this animal is saying. If you had the Pet Pal talent, you could have had a meaningful conversation. Alright. Fortunately, we do have the Pet Pal talent, and we can have a meaningful conversation. Assuming that the rat does not run away from us, and stays somewhere within our range.
Oh, how nice to meet your acquaintance. We rats may be slow, but that makes it all the easier to keep our ears to the ground. Friendly-wise, I'd say we rodents are the best friends an adventurer can make.
Pet Pal, because you have the talent Pet Pal, you can easily converse with animals. Okay. So, for most, if not all animals outside of this starter dungeon, when you click on them and talk to them, they only have one response, and they will repeat the same response over and over and over again. Anytime you talk to that particular animal. The rats in this dungeon, however, have random responses. And there are 6 different random responses, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get all of those done. Unfortunately, the programmers of this game were jackasses, for lack of a better way of putting it. So instead of having these 6 random comments come up in order, they're random. You can sit here and get the same one over and over and over and over again without ever hearing all the other ones. So it just becomes very annoying to do. But right now we have one where it's talking about, you know, hey, us rats basically are good sources of information for adventurers.
Oh, how nice to meet your acquaintance. We rats may be slow, but that makes it all the easier to keep our ears to the ground. Friendly-wise, I'd say we rodents are the best friends an adventurer can make.
Okay.
I don't know much, but I do know this. Wherever black robes tread, chaos follows.
Alright, so the rats are aware of the black robes, so the 3 that left us, 2 of them were clad in black robes. Of the 3 that left this dungeon with the stone.
This is where the ancient kings and queens of Sicil were buried, back before Source was banished from the land. I hear voices muttering about it now and then. Is that normal?
So it's basically telling you there are still voices within this dungeon.
I don't know much, but I do know this. Wherever black robes tread, chaos follows. Do you like shiny gems as much as those other fellows? I admit the king's stone was pretty, but hardly as tasty as a nice crumb of stale bread. Oh well, whatever tickles your whiskers.
Alright, so the rats know that a stone was taken, and they're calling it a king's stone.
Do you like shiny gems as much as those other fellows? I admit the king's stone was pretty, but hardly as tasty as a nice crumb of stale bread. Oh well, whatever tickles your whiskers. This is where the ancient kings and queens of Sicil were buried, back before Source was banished from the land. I hear voices muttering about it now and then. Is that normal? Oh, how nice to meet your acquaintance. We rats may be slow, but that makes it all the easier to keep our ears to the ground. Friendly-wise, I'd say we rodents are the best friends an adventurer can make.
You can see how annoying this is, trying to get these unique conversations when it's completely random.
I come from a long line of tomb dwellers. They say the matriarch of my clan was the first to sample the mummified flesh of the last
not much information on that one. That's the 5th unique dialogue. There's one more left.
Do you like shiny gems as much as those other fellows? I admit the king's stone was pretty, but hardly as tasty as a nice crumb of stale bread. Oh well, whatever tickles your whiskers. Oh, how nice to meet your acquaintance. We rats may be small, but that makes it all the easier to keep our ears to the ground. Friendly-wise, I'd say we rodents are the best friends an adventurer can make. Do you like shiny gems as much as those other fellows? I admit the king's stone was pretty, but hardly as tasty as a nice crumb of stale bread. Oh well, whatever tickles your whiskers. I come from a long line of tomb dwellers. They say the matriarch of my clan was the first to sample the mummified flesh of the last Source King. I don't know much, but I do know this. Wherever black robes tread, chaos follows. This is where the ancient kings and queens of Sicil were buried, back before Source was banished from the land. I hear voices muttering about it now and then. Is that normal?
You know, they could have just put 6 different rats in this dungeon and made each of the rats have one of the unique dialogue lines, but nope. You know, I often thought to myself that a product that I would buy would be something like a pillow, like a punching bag pillow that specifically says "punch the programmers," or something that really that you can just put something like some power into, like a nice balled fist, and just punch the living shit out of it. That has like the programmer. A face of the programmer that you want, like if you, I don't know, you know what I mean. I would love to just have something that I could take my frustration out at programmers next to my desk, because man, I tell you, I'd love to strangle some of the programmers of these games, and the programmers that did this right here is one of them.
I don't know much, but I do know this. Wherever black robes tread, chaos follows. Much, but I do know this. Wherever black robes tread, chaos follows. Has anyone ever told you you're as pretty as a starstone? I may not be able to see past your ankles, but I'm sure of it.
Okay, so there's the 6th one, and basically they're saying starstone. So the rats have told us about the kingstone and a starstone. Alright, so that's that. Now, what some people may not realize is that not only do rats give you information, and animals in general give you information, but they are also a good source of XP. So once you are sure that you don't have a use for them anymore, you should kill the animals. Now, that said, you need to make sure that you don't have a use for them, because there are uses for animals that you may not want to kill them, at least not for a while. The problem is it's so hard to target the goddamn things. And we just don't have a weapon that can deal enough damage to the damn thing.
I must focus!
Yes, please focus. There we go. So 90 XP for just killing a rat. I mean, that's pretty significant, honestly. Alright, so if you look around here, you'll see some containers. We have bones. These are broken.
This seems to be broken.
This seems to be broken.
Just got some hair from the rat. Alright, then you have a vase, so another type of container, and we have a chest here. Highlight the chest and press right mouse button to bring up the actions menu. Select attack to perform the action. So what it's telling you now is if I click on the right click on the chest, I can attack it and open it that way. If you open containers that way, you cannot trigger Lucky Charm. It also tells you can pick lock it tells you that it's actually locked. And it gives you the ability to pick it up. So based on your strength, you can pick up chests in this game. If you examine it, it tells you the lock level. So you don't need any lockpicking skill to be able to pick this lock if you choose to do it that way. If we try to pick it up, so Roderick with a strength of 6 is able to pick this box up. So we're going to go ahead and put that back on the ground for now. So we're not going to open that container up now, and we're certainly not going to attack it, but you can attack it to open it. We're going to go ahead and leave it there and use a lockpick that we find later on to open it up. Alright, so moving on. Bunch of containers. Move objects by clicking and dragging them. Click and hold. Okay, so this is just telling you that you can move things around. And we're moving on. We'll come back to all of this stuff.
Careful, there's a mine in the middle of our path.
Someone must have an interest in protecting whatever's kept here.
Traps and mines. There's a mine ahead. Trigger mines by attacking them with a ranged weapon or by dropping something heavy on them. Okay. To note, in a lot of games, dealing with mines gives you XP. So if you right click on this mine, you have the ability to use, disarm, attack, or examine. So let's examine it. 20 hit points. Alright, in a lot of games, if you disarm traps, you get XP. Not in this game. If I were to fire at this and blow it up, there's a good chance that, based on this radius, it might destroy anything around it. So you don't want to trigger shit that's going to explode in your containers you want to loot, okay? This game, in general, has a good AI. When you find the trap, if you click anywhere past it, usually, not always, but usually, the NPCs, I mean your main characters and your companions, will run around the trap and not trigger it. I want to say usually. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the pathing just screws you. But usually it'll just run right by it like that and avoid the trap once you locate it. So now we have some more rats. And since I've talked to the rat, the first one, I don't need to talk to these other ones. They all have the same responses. So now we just have to try to kill them. Let's see if we can do it with a bow this time. A little more damage with the bow. And that's a misclick. It's so hard to get them. It's so hard to get the contextual menu to come up. And now he's too far away. Alright. Anyway. Can't get him. Here. Missed. Can't even click on the damn thing. And now it's gonna get out of range.
My target dances in shadows.
Like I always say, why pick on someone your own size when innocent creatures are so much easier to slaughter?
Okay, so that right there is a result of Zandalore's trunks. That's what Zandalore's trunks do. Random tidbits.
You were right there!
So hard to kill. Oh my goodness. Alright. He's having a hard time hitting.
How could that happen? Death is its own deliverance.
Alright. Death is its own deliverance. More bone piles. Get a broad scroll there. Pick that up.
Another one for the collection.
Alright, so we see we have a buried chest and a tomb chest key. So if we click on this, locks and keys. This chest's lock seems intricate. You should search for its key nearby. So like I said, in a lot of the game, locks, there are keys somewhere in the dungeon that you can find to pick it up. Alright, so if we examine that, it tells you the lock level. Alright, so again, we'll pick up the key, but we're not going to open the chest yet. So, at this point, We're just hoping some random loot shows up with Lucky Charm. If not, we'll have to come back to the dungeon later on when we get one.
I've always heard there's typically more to a king's tomb than meets the eye.
It could be a myth, or it could be our lucky day.
Okay. Could be a myth, or it could be our lucky day. Right, another chest. Lockpicks. This chest's lock doesn't seem very advanced. Find a lockpick to open it. So if we look at this chest, another one says lock level 0. And there's some lockpicks. Alright, you found a lockpick. To open a locked object, you use the lockpick from your inventory, then select the locked object. So you can use it straight from here, or you can just put it on the hotbar and use it from the hotbar. Alright, so lockpicks. A fine metal lockpick for prying open locks when you have misplaced the key. More intricate locks require lockpicking ability. Alright, we also picked up a fly agaric mushroom. The effect we don't know. Just a friendly little toadstool minding its own business. Well, let's find out what it does. Alright, so we were poisoned. It is 100% chance to set poison status for 1 turn, so we just poisoned ourselves. Let's go ahead and heal up that damage. Alright, then we picked up a tomb chest key, an old key. Now to find what it can unlock. We picked up some hair. They say the lizard mystics use every part of every animal they kill. Perhaps you can find some use for this rather horrible clump of hair. We also picked up some raw meat. Effects unknown. Sear to seal in all those delicious juices. Let's go ahead and find out.
I feel better already.
So, -1 constitution, but you get 15 heals, and it has a 50% chance to set disease status for 2 turns, which did not trigger there, so we did not disease ourselves. Alright, so those are the new objects we picked up, and now if you look at raw meat, you can see the special effects. Alright, we'll save this and move on. You can interact with everything, or almost everything, so these candles you can turn on and off. You can actually move them, and that will be useful later on.
Well, what's this I've spotted?
Alright, perceptions, traps, and secrets. Something hidden has been revealed. The higher your perception, the more likely you are to reveal traps and secrets. Alright. Now, you notice that he's the one making the comments, so it sounds to me like he's the one, his perception check is what's doing the unveiling of those. And I'm wondering whether or not you have to have the target, the character selected that has the highest perception in order for that perception check to take place under the selected character. Or whether
A stitch in time, eh, friends?
having Roderick selected, it still will trigger
Into the fray
Scarlet's
once more.
check. Anyway, attack mode. Hold left control and click on the door to attack it. So now you can pick the door or attack it to break it down, and it says lock level of -1. So you don't even have to have a lockpicking skill to even do that. But this is going to prove something to us, so we will do it with her. We'll go ahead and attack. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this. The durability on the bow right now is 47.
We made short work of that door, but I don't imagine our weapons would survive such use for long.
Okay, so you see the durability there. went to 46. But you saw it had two things that it tried to do. Zandalar's pants trunks rocked there, but since there was another dialogue line being spoken, you didn't hear it, but you did see the text, which is kind of odd. So if you go back here. So let's head back this way. So let's take Scarlet and see if she's the first one here. What happens?
What's this? I found something.
So she found it first this time. And now, let's go ahead and break this down with Roderick. And notice that he can pick it because we have a lockpick on his inventory.
We made short work of that door, but I don't imagine our weapons would survive such use for long.
Okay. Fire resistance potion. Saving the game, press F5 to quick save and F8 to quick load, which we've been doing all along. So now we have our first surfaces. Water removes fire. Use a water spell or destroy a water barrel to clear the fire trap. To clear the fire up. But take care to avoid fire surfaces. Alright, so we unchain these, hit save, take Roderick and just walk in here. Alright, so Roderick gets burning. So he's taking fire damage per turn. Increased water resistance, decreased fire resistance. The longer he stands in there, the more damage he takes, right?
Bless the Seven, I am restored!
Okay. So, now, if he goes into this, right? Not her. Stay out of that. Come here. Go here.
I need water.
Watch, every time he runs across it, every time he takes a step, he takes damage. See that? Death. Use resurrection scrolls to call the departed back from the afterlife. See, we are not going to do that. Don't want to waste one, but I just wanted to show you that for every step you take, once you're in the surface, you're taking a tick of damage. And that becomes really important because when something throws a fire surface on you, you're taking damage just by standing in the fire. But if you try to get out of the fire, you're going to take damage per step. So you got to really take into account what your hit points are before you start moving in such traps. Alright, so there are several ways to deal with this. They provide a useful rain scroll over here. But also, if you look at the barrels themselves, you'll notice this is a regular barrel, but this one has water. Has a symbol on it. It's a water barrel, and we got a tutorial message that popped up there. Water removes fire. Use a water spell or destroy a water barrel to clear up the fire. To clear the fire up, but take care to avoid fire surfaces. That was something else popped up, I thought. What else popped up? That was weird. What was it? There was something else that popped up on the tutorial. I don't see it though. Alright, I'm not sure what it was that popped up there. Alright, anyway. So yeah. So since we have a bow, instead of using the rain scroll, we just attack the barrel.
You're like a gorilla in a porcelain store.
Alright, that's Sandalor's Trunks. So notice around that area we created a steam cloud and cleared up a little bit of the fire.
You're like a gorilla in a porcelain store.
Alright, so another way of dealing with this is that later on we can get a spell called teleportation, and that's through I think that's through Arrow Thurge, and teleportation allows you to move objects and drop them. So I could use teleportation on this water barrel and it would drop it on the ground and actually explode and do the same thing that we're doing here with the bows, with the bow. Alright, so there we go, we got a lot of steam. Now, steam generally will cause an effect quite like smoke grenade, so if you have steam around, you're not going to be able to see enemies on the other side of the steam, and they won't be able to attack you either. And I think, as far as the steam goes, I think that's how that works. Okay, so destroy all those. Now the fire is gone. Come over here and pick up a lockpick. Alright. And out this way. See, there's still a little fire on the ground, and if you run into that, you will take burning damage. Got a rat running around on us. If we can go attack him.
Missed!
Fucking fourth attack. There we go. Got it. Picked up a rat's tail. Raw meat. Alright. And we're moving on.
Careful! I've spotted a trap.
Spotted a trap. Alright, we have a trap disarm tool kit. You found a trap disarm toolkit. You found a disarm trap kit. To disarm a trap, first use the disarm trap kit from your inventory, then select the trap. Alright, so like the lockpicks, we can use it directly from the inventory, or you can drag it down and use it like that, like this, and click on that. Once it's yellow, it'll disarm it. So let's take a look here. A fiddly little kit that you can use to disable traps and mines. If only these were available for people too. Alright, so we picked up a rat's tail. The lifeless, worm-like tail is stiff and hard. The animal's spirit has long fled this world. We picked up another rain scroll, which we had one of those before, and we picked up a fire resistance potion. So it gives you 15% fire resistance. A bright smelling, spicy elixir capable of protecting you against pyrokinetic attacks. Bright smelling. Okay. So that's that. Let's go ahead and open up this backpack here, and we will put this in it. There we go. And sort. Alright, let's see if this is locked. It is. Let's take a look at that one. Alright. Locked. To open a locked door or chest, you can find the key. Learn lockpicking or use brute force. Alright, so we will come back for that at some other point. Alright. Little residual fire here. Moving on. Come across a poison cloud. Poison cloud. Try using fire on poison surfaces and poison clouds. A fire spell or fire arrow will do the trick. So at this point we have no fire spell or arrows because we used our arrows and we don't have any fire points in pyrokinetic. However, they foresaw this and gave us a fireball scroll. So we will pick this up. Once again, you do not have to have skill in pyrokinetic to use it. So let's take a look at it. Fireball scroll. Cast an explosive ball of fire that does 14 to 18 damage to anything within 3 meters of impact. 100% chance to set burning status for 2 turns. Bodybuilding saving throw. We got a 3 meter explosive radius with a 15 meter range to use it. And yeah, so that's the scroll. Can target terrain to create fire surface, burn ooze or oil, evaporate water, or melt ice. Can explode some clouds. Can explode some clouds. So note that we have some containers here. So let's see. Make sure that they are not killed by doing this. Take this. We'll throw it out there.
From the tiniest spark.
Alright, our containers are happy. Now, surfaces will go away after a period of time. If you saw, we ran through that steam cloud, and when we came back, the steam cloud was gone. So, instead of using the rain scroll and clearing this out, we can just wait, and that's that. And come across this chest. And notice this one here is not locked, so we're going to leave that alone for now. And we will move on. Here, there is a fishing pole, green fishing rod. So, unlike other games, there's not fishing in this game, even though you do get a fishing rod. There's really no purpose in fishing the fishing rods that I can tell, other than really shitty two-handed weapons. But anyway, a simple rod is suitable for saltwater or freshwater fishing or mischief. Alright, so moving on. Got some lockpicks up here. Alright. So now we have a stone gate. Save here. Locked doors. There are 2 ways to open this door. One way is to find a key, the other is to find a lever. Okay, so in one of the trunks that we've passed up, there's a key to this door. But if you also look over here and move a barrel out of the way, there is a lever here. However, there is also a lever right here.
Well, what's this I've spotted?
Alright, so there. Her perception is high enough at a perception of 8 plus 2 for Light Stepper to find this lever. So this door can be opened with the lever you can find here, the hidden lever, and a key. I'm not sure why they put a hidden lever here when they put a lever here. Just to show you that you can do it, I don't know. But either way, that's how we get in there. We're moving on. Traps. Gas pits. Place an object over the pit to stop the puddle or cloud from spreading. Okay. Now you can see in the dialogue we're picking up some type of text from the buried mummy. Alright, so moving up.
I've spotted something interesting.
Alright, so we spotted something interesting. We're going to go ahead and toss a couple of these things down here to stop that from happening.
I've spotted something.
And we'll toss a barrel there. And then we have another chest. We continue on.
Shh! I think I hear voices downstairs.
The last thing we need is to surprise another angry summoner.
Enter sneak mode by pressing C. Stay out of the vision cones of those around you to remain hidden. Alright, so go into sneak mode. She goes into sneak mode. And then we're moving on down this way.
Something isn't right here. It could be an ambush.
Sneak attacking. Sometimes it... Okay, we're going to go into the log. Where to go?
My robes are soaked! You'd better hope there's no hint of a flame in this place. Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. No one can get in here but us and the boss. You don't know that! Those cultists have been poking about for days.
Okay. So try to find that tutorial message. Okay, so sometimes it pays off to scout ahead. Drag a candle into the oil to ignite the oil those skeletons are standing on in order to damage them prior to combat. Enter sneak mode by pressing C. Stay out of the vision cones or those around you. Of those around you to remain hidden. Okay. Alright, so it mentioned the candles here, right? So move up here a little bit. So of note here, it's possible to start this particular counter and other counters like it by tossing this candle here on the oil and lighting the oil up. This will start them burning, but it's possible that you kill these two by doing that and never enter combat. If that happens, you don't get the XP for them. If they die before you enter combat, you don't get XP. So...
Fool! You've made a mess of an ancient tomb! It was my arthritis! I couldn't help it! Arthritis, my skull! When Rage Queen sees this, he'll tear you apart!
Alright. So that's the two conversations they have. So you see the rat. You don't want to burn the rat. You want to make sure that you're getting all the XP you can. So let's go ahead and toss this to show you what happens here. Alright, we just created a burning area. Notice they're burning, oiled and burning. Okay, so... Okay, fortunately, neither of them died, so that means we can continue. We're gonna go up, I'm gonna unchain him, and then we're gonna sneak up behind this guy. Alright, see how he can't see us. So this is based on sneaking skill. If you go into abilities, this is like the tutorial part, but this is where sneaking would apply. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and get Scarlet up this way. Take Roderick, and let's check our XP. So we have 1310 and 1310. Okay. Alright. Alright, so we got our XP for that one. I'm not sure why Sneak failed at that point, because this guy's back was turned to us. I'm not sure why he was able to see us, but whatever. Completely missed. Failed to hit again. So far away I can't hit it. Not enough AP. You don't have enough action points to perform that action. And your turn or perform an action that requires less AP, we're going to go ahead and battering ram. And we're going to fail. So that was disastrous for us. Let's try again.
How could that happen?
Just... And she didn't even have the stance on, and she's missing that much. And another 50. Alright. So we will go ahead and heal up. See if anything dropped on the ground now. Old cloth bracers, and we got a fireball scroll up there. So we'll reconnect. Pick the bracers up. Pick the fireball scroll up. And we have a rat coming around here, so we can take care of him. Maybe. He's just gonna keep running from us as we're trying to hit him.
Missed!
The more you want to kill it, the more it's gonna run away. Traps, pressure plates. Pressure plates can be activated by your own body weight or by an object of sufficient weight. They make a click sound when they are activated. Alright, so let's take a broken vase, stick that on there. Let's try to find a way to get this rat targeted. There we go. Slow walk our way over to the rat.
No glory in this death.
There's no glory in that death. Alright, take another broken vase. Scarlet decided to step on the pressure plate. But there we go. Alright, so we have a fireball scroll. And we can put that on whoever. Let's go ahead and ship that to Scarlet for now. And we'll stick that on this hotbar for now. Let's take a look at our bracers. Old cloth bracers. Stitched with heavy thread. These bracers were crafted to last a lifetime. So there's no difference between our currently equipped one except for durability. So these have more durability than our traveling bracers. But unlike the cloth cap, if we take these bracers and combine them, we can actually improve them. Alright, and we'll go ahead and take that off like so. Now we have a new bracers. Save and move forward. Alright, so a table full of stuff, stunning arrowhead. Combine ingredients to craft new items. Open your inventory and press the craft button in the middle to start crafting. Alright. Alright, so we picked up a hammer, one-handed, a very useful object, a less useful weapon, arrow shaft, a perfectly ordinary arrow shaft. Combine arrow shafts with special arrowheads to create powerful arrows with special effects. Cooking pot, it's a cooking pot for cooking. Picked up a medium intelligence potion, so we get +2 intelligence. This medium-sized potion smells faintly of old books and is capable of boosting your intelligence. And a stunning arrowhead. This arrowhead displays stunning craftsmanship, quite literally. So if we try to combine our stunning arrowhead with a shaft, not enough crafting ability. You have discovered a potential item combination but lack the requirements to successfully complete the combination, and it shows you that. So if you go into your recipes, actually that's kind of weird. Let's try this again. It should come up and tell you that you have a potential combination. Oh, that's not doing it. That's kind of weird. Usually it comes up with another item under food that says potential combinations, and it shows you what how many potential combinations you have. Alright, you can also combine a hammer with our cooking pot, and that required no crafting skill. So we have a battered cooking pot with a hammer. So a hammer is a tool used in crafting, and we created a new helmet, a 10 armor rating helmet that has less sight, less hearing. Broken cooking pot can only be worn on the head, so we will go ahead and get that because it is more armor. And we will switch out that with that, and then give Scarlet her helmet. And we are slowly but surely improving. Alright, moving on. Pull party portraits apart to unchain them. Breaking the chain stops them from following the party member they are chained to. Alright. So it's doing that for a reason. Got a stone door here if we try to open this thing up. Locked. Got a pressure plate though. Click on party members' portraits to control them. The party member you are controlling has a gold highlight on its portrait. So it's slightly gold, but it is gold. Alright, we'll move Scarlet forward. And step on that one. Go ahead and bring him in. You can regroup your party by dragging your characters' portraits together, reconnecting the chain that binds them. Okay, we are there. Moving on. We have an autosave. We'll go ahead and have a quick save and we'll move forward. Okay. Got some activity coming down here.
A living rat dares disturb the slumber of the dead? A thieving fool insults the sanctity of the grave. The bloodstone defiler, where is it?
Alright, so he's calling it a bloodstone. So the rats called it a kingstone and a starstone, and he's calling it a bloodstone.
In life, I toil to care for these holy grounds. In death, I protect them from profaners and poachers. The legacy of Cecile is mine to preserve. Her traitors are mine to destroy. I suppose you only crept among these sacred tombs for leisure. I suppose you had no lust for the treasure of the dead. Ha! Strange indeed, robed indeed. Your tricks will not save you from retribution, deceiver. The bloodstone, deliver it now and I may deign to end you quickly. Run if you like, defiler. Whichever way you take leads you to the grave.
So, Rage Queen is unhappy with us. Alright, so let's take a look at our log here. We met with an angry undead in the catacomb from which the Tomb Raiders emerged. He told us they stole a bloodstone, an ominous name to be sure. Alright, so one thing to note on resources, they tend to be plentiful, so when you have them, use them. And then what I mean by resources, arrows, scrolls, bombs, that kind of thing. So I can start off the fight with Ricochet, but I can also start off the fight with doing like a scroll here and blowing these things up. So kill that thing. Now we created a burning on him, and there's a tiny fire surface here. If you get in that tiny surface, you will get hit. So let's go ahead and activate our stance here. And if we hit Ricochet, we should be able to hit him and him, hopefully.
Direct hit, and hit, and hit!
Now, try to go through both of them, and I can't. He's blocked because of the tomb. So, if you look at how much it cost us, we have one action point left. So, I have one action point that I can move forward and maybe try to get a better line of sight, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to move that far to get a line of sight. So at this point, it would be better just to try to single target control. So we'll try to knock down Rage.
Assaults from the air!
Alright, so we managed to do that. And now we can kind of make our way towards this guy and avoid the fire. So
Death never dies, fool. Death in 1,000 forms rules all.
alright, so you saw how the skeleton moved. I don't know if it moved because the cloud, like it couldn't see through the cloud. It doesn't look like the cloud's giving me a problem on my Ranger, so I don't think this type of cloud is a smoke screen type of cloud. But the skeleton tried to attack, and he hit the corner of the tomb. So his attack was foiled. So Rage Quinn now is a ghost. He's come back to life, and yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and try to kill the awakened archer. Notice how it keeps moving the attack to moving, and that's where using the tactical camera and going overhead is a little bit better, because then you can try to make sure you are on top of this thing. See how it's just really funky? It's really wanting to move it around. So we'll do that.
Your grave opens
Kill
to
that.
welcome you!
Alright, so we managed to hit that. We'll save our points. So now we have battering ram, right? So if you look, this is a fire surface still. So what happens if you go through the fire surface using battering ram? Alright, so we were able to get through that surface. We didn't knock Ragecoin down, but... Alright, so he tried to stun Scarlet, but failed. Scarlet was too good for him. The likelihood of her hitting with range power stance on is low, but we're gonna try.
You were right there!
Alright, so Roderick now will do his thing. He missed. That's his attack. Now Rangecoin is gonna come over here and try to get in her face.
Missed!
And this is gonna be kind of dangerous for us now, because we're gonna have to go through this to get to here. Fail to apply chill.
You were right there!
She cannot hit. Okay, he's done.
I feel like I've been set
Okay.
in stone.
This is really, really bad for us. So I might have to turn off range power stance because she cannot hit.
Onslaught from afar!
She still has trouble hitting. Alright.
Die,
There we
vermin!
Alright. Press and hold left alt to highlight objects that can be picked up. The higher your perception, the more objects you will see. Now, this, I don't really understand what this means. Does this mean that if you have higher perception, you automatically will get more loot per encounter? Because that kind of makes it seem like that. Because the only way that you... The only thing the tooltip does for you is it highlights the items on the ground, right? So it wouldn't matter if the items dropped in the encounter, you would be able to highlight them. So this leads you to believe that if you have a higher perception, you're going to get more loot off of the encounters themselves as just default because you have high perception. Alright, let's go ahead and heal up.
Bless the seven! I am restored!
So,
Bless
regardless,
the seven! I am restored!
that's highlighting with her, which she has the most perception. But highlighting with him is the same thing, so... Anyway. But I think what that means is that the higher your perception, the more loot will drop per encounter. Alright, we picked up a two-handed practice sword. An enormous two-handed sword that clangs aggressively against other weapons and hums contentedly against the whetstone. We picked up a aged robe, a loose-fitting, beautifully dyed robe allows for maximum freedom of movement and comfort. Its wearer can focus on mindful strategizing. We picked up a stunning arrow. So it stuns a target and deals 12 to 20 air damage, 100% chance to set the stun status for 1 turn, willpower savings throw. Stun makes the target unable to move or act, as we just saw. Damage dealt depends on your weapon's damage rating. Can target some surfaces and clouds to electrify them. And when you electrify the cloud, anything in the cloud can be stunned, including you. can target some surfaces. Yeah, we did that. An arrow infused with the fury of air. If you listen closely, you can hear it whistle and seethe with anticipation. We also picked up thread. To the world, it may be a simple thread, but to a broken garment, it may be the world. Pair with a needle for the ultimate experience. Picked up a few more minor healing potions, and we're going to go ahead and split that. And stick one on the hotbar because we used it, and give her one because we used that one. Okay, so back there, we'll go ahead and combine our robe with our grail and create a new recipe. So, with the golden grail, any robe, improved robe, and that is that. We also picked up the ancient stone gate key, an old key, now to find what it can unlock. And we will go ahead.
Here lies Master Ragequin's first apprentice, killed by a falling corpse. Here lies Master Ragequin's second apprentice, killed by dying.
Killed by dying. Alright, so we will head up this way and pop out here. Ancient stone gate.
Pass the bottle, would you, Julius? My throat's dry.
This is a single malt, imported all the way from Hawkesbury. No, it ain't the local pig swill they sell for ale.
Single malt? Stubbiers. You've been had by one of them smooth-talking salesmen again. Come, give here before I sober up.
Okay, so you heard that conversation off the screen. I don't know, like I said, whether or not the hearing stat actually applies to distance that you can hear conversations, but it might. Alright, access the optional tutorial area by entering the dungeon behind you. So, yeah, don't know why that pops up again, but this is where we came in at. So, that was the starter dungeon. We did not find anything to give us Lucky Charm, so we still have to go back in there and loot. We'll do that at another point in time. So, with that, we are going to be done with this episode, and we'll pick up the next episode with exploring more of our immediate area around Sicil. Alright, later guys.